We expect police to be honest, trustworthy, and avoid getting arrested themselves. What happens, though, when a town hires a police officer out on bond?
So there's a small village called Log Lane. That's about an hour northeast of Denver. And there is an officer on patrol with a pending felony case against her. As investigative reporter Jeremy Hohola finds, there's nothing in state law stopping her from being a criminal defendant and a cop at the same time.
In the small village of Log Lane, you'll find rows of mobile homes, a few dispensaries, and 2 town cops watching over 800 citizens. One is Dawn Flissar. As a Log Lane cop, she has a badge and a gun. She also has a mugshot and 5 felony charges for theft. Yup, a police officer with a current felony theft case out on bond enforcing the Log Lane law. Court records reveal before she was hired in Log Lane, Flissar was a Morrison police officer through early 2021. While there, investigators believe she may have pocketed 31 grand while doing VIN inspections on used cars, hundreds of which were never completed, leaving potentially hundreds of buyers oblivious to the true history of their vehicles.
How you doing? My name is Jeremy Hohola. I'm a reporter for 9 News here in town, and I have some questions about your pending felony case that you have.
Before we hear from Officer Flissar, there's the other cop, Log Lane Officer Pedro Malave. Before he was hired here, he worked as a Commerce City police officer. Internal affairs records say he sent thousands of sexting messages and nude images to several women while on duty. He was also suspected of using his police phone to get steroids. Malave was never charged with the crime and resigned from Commerce City right before he was to be fired in 2016.
Highly inappropriate, not somebody you'd want to have working in your agency.
Dr. Philip Stinson has been a criminologist for 20 years. As a Bowling Green State University professor, he tracks 20,000 police officers with troubled histories like Officer Flissar.
It's highly unusual that we would see an officer who has an open felony case leaving one department and going to another department.
He says any defense attorney would have a field day with the cases handled by these 2 cops because of their histories, especially as one has a pending felony case. Is there any legitimate good excuse for the town to employ this person?
Well, the only excuse, the only valid reason would be that they have an officer who's still certified by the state of Colorado.
Online, we can see Officers Flissar and Malave are still state certified to be officers. Her pending felony case and his serious past history have not affected their certifications. To give you an example, when a cop will be decertified, we look to another Log Lane officer. Log Lane Chief of Police Joshua Katz resigned after a domestic violence arrest. Last year, he was convicted of felonies, and now he can no longer be a cop in Colorado. Back to Officer Flissar.
Did you disclose to the town that you had a pending felony case? I mean, you're enforcing the law. You're enforcing the law. How can you be enforcing the law if you have a pending felony case? Do you think that looks good for the public to see that?
Sir, I don't have any comments.
You don't have any comments?
No.
No comment, but Flissar's application to Log Lane speaks for itself. Under traffic and criminal offenses information, which requires disclosure of any arrest and detainment by law enforcement, regardless of punishment, she did put down a 2016 speeding ticket. She did not disclose her pending felony case on the application that says, under penalty of perjury.
So the reason this is a problem is that we want police agencies to be transparent. We want there to be police accountability. We want there to be police legitimacy.
So, to sum all of this up, when someone is facing a pending felony case, there is nothing in state law that would stop them from being a police officer. It does depend on the local police agency, though. For example, in the city of Denver, a cop will be immediately suspended without pay if they're arrested on a felony. Dawn Flissar's felony trial is set for February. In the meantime, we have called Log Lane, sent emails, made tons of phone calls to get the mayor's perspective on all of this. They don't want to talk about this case.
Is there any oversight that exists for police forces throughout the state, much less for Log Lane in specific?
Yeah, there's the state certification board, there's the post board, but there's nothing in the law that would prohibit them from being police officers because their histories don't affect their certification. Maybe after this, somebody might look at this and say, yeah, something needs to change.
We need to look into that.
Yeah.
So Cases in February, and then things could change.
Well, that's the thing. If she's convicted of a felony, that's when the state will come in and decertify her, so she'll never be able to be a cop again.
But if
in
not
Colorado.
convicted.
If not convicted, she could potentially be a cop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeremy.